It'll be easy to tell the people who watched the baseball game last night. Uh, they'll be bleary eyed and maybe feeling just a little bit better about their Texas Rangers based on the results of last night. We'll explain how next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yes, so we get to erase a page of history. Yesterday, ad nauseum, we all saw this is the 14-year anniversary of the best baseball game ever played in the World Series. And, of course, that depends upon your perspective. Although there are a lot of people who think that, objective people who didn't have a dog in the hunt. We don't happen to agree with them. In any event, we don't have to worry about that anymore because last night's game trumps it. John Radigan here, Jeff Wilson over there, and we've got the cat adjusting things here, there, and everywhere. Glad to have you in the chat. And yeah, Leon, the game, Leon's already in the chat about this, Jeff. The game he thought I was referring to was, of course, game 1 of the World Series 2 years ago, and it was great. But people don't mention it as one of the greatest games ever. We do. The big world doesn't. The big world points back to October the 27th of 2011, and now it's great. They'll all shut up and say, the best game ever on October 27th was the one in 2025.
Yeah, and I had to stay up for that one, Game 6, because I was there in Busch Stadium, and I admit that I went to bed in the 10th inning last night, and woke up at 3 to check the score and saw what had happened, and then I couldn't get back to sleep for about an hour. So anyway, the Game 6 still hurts, but 2023 helped take care of some of that pain. And yeah, and that game was supposed to originally be October 26th. And I think that's the one of the big overlooked things as the World Series played out there was that the game was rained out, even though it never rained.
I was just going to say, that was that big rainstorm on the 26th that happened, right? No, not so much. Yeah, and it is nice that October 27th became such a great day because Leon's right. That game was such a great game and extra innings itself. And, Corey Seager, as we brought this all up on the show yesterday, Corey tying it there in the 9th inning, and then Adolis winning it later. So that was a fantastic game, and we can remember that, and now we all can officially forget what happened in 2011. So the great thing is that this game really did just grab the attention, Jeff, of the world, and it was like 2 games, 18 innings, 609 pitches, 6 hours and 39 minutes, and it's only tied for the longest game in World Series history. That, of course, tied and that game was longer. In 2018, it went 7 hours and 20 minutes, and it was the Dodgers winning that one over the Red Sox. So pretty amazing that 2 games, both in Game 3 of the World Series, end up, going 18 innings.
Yeah, that's the pitch clock for you. I mean, look how much time it saved, the pitch clock from 2018 to now. Let's give the pitch clock a shout out. But that Game 3 in 2018 had a lot of Rangers ties as well. The starting first baseman was Mitch Moreland.
Yep.
Ian Kinsler pinch ran for JD Martinez, and then later made a big error that would have ended the game. Had he made that play, the game would have ended in 13 innings with a Red Sox win in a series they eventually won 4-1. The pitcher, when that error transpired, and for the last six and I think six full innings for the Red Sox, was Nathan Eovaldi. And until 2023, what he did in the postseason, this was his moment. This performance in a loss. He came into the clubhouse after the loss. He got a standing ovation from his teammates, and then that was kind of a storyline going into the 2023 playoffs. Are you going to write a different story this time? And he pitched okay in Game 1 of the World Series, but then Game 5 was Houdini, and somehow managed to toss six scoreless innings, and ended up being the pitcher of record when Mitch Garver singled in Seager in the 7th. And so yeah, even that game, there's some Ranger tie-ins.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of guys are having flashbacks last night.
Yeah, oh, they had to have been, no doubt about that. It was crazy. It really was fun. Shohei Ohtani is unbelievable. Somebody said recently that we aired, he's not human, and I'm pretty sure he is. But I heard somebody on the radio yesterday say, "Yeah, the Dodgers need to get a little bit more out of Shohei." I don't think there is any more you can get out of a guy, and like his last 12 at bats are either home run, double, or a walk, and most of them intentional. They intentionally walked him 4 times last night, Jeff, and they hit him. This wasn't intentional, but he got hit by a pitch. He had 2 homers, 2 doubles, 4 intentional walks, and a hit by pitch. It's unbelievable. 9 times he's on base in one game.
Yeah, I think when they walked him in the 9th, that was the first intentional walk. And I got a text from my friend at home, because I had said earlier in our chat, why are you even pitching to this guy? And then they put the winning run on base in the 9th inning, and it was like, well, they didn't really have a choice. You at least, after you're done intentionally walking him, you're at least still in the game. You're not giving him a 3 swings to end the thing,
right?
And then he got thrown out stealing. Alejandro Kirk had the big home run and that great play. A fun player, Kirk, at
Yes.
5'8", 245 pounds.
Yes.
I think that's pretty awesome, really, for this guy who looks like a lot of us, to go out there and do what he's doing. But I don't think they should pitch to Ohtani the rest of the series.
Yeah, I don't either. And then I think they should revisit whether or not you're allowed to take the bat out of the hands of the best player in the game for an entire series, right? Because I think they may need to limit how many times you can intentionally walk a hitter. Although I go back and forth on it, because I do like the drama that move can inspire, right? With the guy behind him who feels like, oh, you think, following Shohei Ohtani are 2 future Hall of Famers generally, and Mookie Betts and obviously Freddie Freeman.
I was so bummed when they walked in.
You were?
Yes, because I was like, oh my gosh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here's the moment. It's going to happen. And then it was like, walk. I was
like, yeah.
A limit would be good. Then you have to
be strategic, maybe 2 or 3 times. I don't know. What do you think, Jeff? You don't like that?
No. Let the guy manage the game how he wants. And if he wants to walk Shohei Ohtani and take the bat out of his hands, hey, that's just a new wrinkle, I guess, to it. It's the Barry Bonds treatment. Ohtani is not as good as a hitter, just as a hitter, as Barry Bonds was, because Barry Bonds, beyond the power, it was a 300 hitter, 330, and I know Ohtani's flirted with that, but it's you're just going to get beat if you do it too often, and you don't know when it's going to happen.
Right.
So why mess with it now? Leading off the game, all right, maybe that's one where he will get pitched to today when Shane Bieber takes the mound in the first. But I mean, I think if there's any chance for him to beat you late or to beat you, if there's a base open and runner in scoring position, you got to walk him. I don't care. So
yeah,
anyway.
It's the right move. It's the strategic move. And it was right in the night. Now, I did see some video of, there were a whole bunch of former players, Prince was in there, and Kenny Lofton might have been in there, and a few other former players in a suite in L.A. freaking out when he got intentionally walked for the third or fourth time. They just couldn't believe what they were seeing. But anyway, it's amazing that guy, Jeff, is going to be the starting pitcher tonight. On base 9 times, 12 total bases in the game last night.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he didn't have to swing a lot there in extra innings, so shouldn't be too tired. And like you said, the game ended at 11:50 Pacific time, so I guess he had to do some media stuff, but he still got home and got to bed, and plenty of time to be ready to start tonight.
Yes.
And the last time he took the mound, it was the 3-homer game, but he also 6 scoreless innings, struck out 10. They need him. Both these starters need to go deep in the game. If we're being perfectly honest, because this is the first time all postseason that they will have played 3 games in a row, or games on 3 days in a row. And the starters, did they even get through the 5th? I don't even think they finished 5 yesterday.
No.
So you were looking at a big bullpen game yesterday, and then it turned into a really big bullpen game. So you got to sit back and wonder who's going to be available. The closers threw a lot of pitches. Hey, Clayton Kershaw only had to get 1 out, so maybe he's the first man up.
Yeah, might be. And that's what I stayed up for too. Yeah, but the point is that all these guys are going to say they're ready, right? Because they're having so much fun playing. And in fact, last night, reports indicate that Yamamoto, after his game 2, went out to the bullpen, like, I'm ready, right? And that possibly, I think, Shane Bieber was seen out there getting ready to warm up, the starter for tonight's game. So those things weren't going to happen. You just can't, not for starting pitchers. But anyway, that'll be interesting theater. I'll tell you what else will be interesting. George Springer's got to be out. It looks like an oblique, and Springer, may well be out for the rest of the series, Jeff.
Well, and that proved to be a huge thing, because he was replaced by Ty France, who then got on base in the 9th inning, and they ran for France with Snyder, and Lucas doubled, and Snyder got thrown out at home. Yep. I'm not saying that Springer would have been on first base in that situation, but had he been, he would have scored, because he's fast.
Yeah.
Then the way that the bench was used, and even if it had been it was France, but somehow Miles Straw was then put into the game, and he couldn't pinch run. So I mean, there a lot of things that happened in that game that conspired to make it an 18-inning marathon. There are runners thrown out at home. Each team had one of those, I believe.
Yep.
Just a lot happened. It was a lot of good baseball.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It was a situation where the teams were being aggressive on the base paths. There were 6 outs on the base paths. Both teams being aggressive, as you kind of want your team to be in that situation. Let's just win this thing, right? But we were talking yesterday about how, Tommy Edman, maybe the Dodgers are, could be looking for a second baseman, maybe a landing spot for Marcus Semien, and then Edman makes the error early, and it leads to a 3-run homer, and I'm like, oh, geez, yeah, maybe we're onto something. Maybe they're going to sound. And then he made unbelievable throws on the out at third base and the relay home. I mean, it was unbelievable. He basically saved that game twice.
Yeah, I had the same thought. I was like, "Oh, Marcus Simeon makes that plays,
Yeah,
Dodgers."
yeah,
And hey, those happen, and then you can go back. That gave Scherzer a lead, and they take him out, and then Otani doubles to make it 4-3, and then Freeman ties it.
yep,
I wonder, speaking of the intentional walk, why not walk Otani and let Scherzer face Betts?
right.
Um, who knows? It's easy to second guess, and there was a lot of decisions both sides had to make last night. Um, and then 609 pitches, man,
A lot of
what a
pitches.
deal that
Yeah,
was.
a
Um,
lot of
and I,
pitches.
and I thought the plate umpire, the crew chief, Mark Wegner, thought he did an okay job.
Hmm.
I mean, you see 609 pitches, you're gonna miss a couple. I mean,
Yep,
these guys see 10 pitches and they miss a couple.
yep.
But I think he rated it at like 94.5% or something like that. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, and when your job is pure concentration, I mean, obviously there's a little bit of physicality there, but it's pure concentration, man. To concentrate like that for 6 hours and 39 minutes straight, crazy. Really good job, really, by all the umpiring crew. We've got more to talk about regarding this game, and we'll do it during the cleanup segment. But coming up next, let's get back to some Rangers topics. We started yesterday a chat about some of the free agents that might be available, might be interested in Texas. Texas might be interested in them. Let's dive down that path, that rabbit hole again, and then we'll get to more about the Rangers' off-season plans as we continue with the DLLS Rangers podcast. First, it's game time. Time for you to get a ticket to your favorite NBA game, your favorite NBA team. For most, I know that's the Dallas Mavericks. Off to a slow start, the Mavs, 1-3 after a valiant effort to try and come back against the Oklahoma City Thunder last night. Have we mentioned those guys were the champions last year? So tough one for the Mavs, tough start. But with a young guy like Cooper Flagg, you can probably expect some growing pains. But this team's going to be great. Plus, they still got a couple of guys hurt. So anyway, Kyrie Irving foremost among them. But anyway, you want tickets to a Mavs game? They're available any game, anytime. And I really encourage you to get them at game time. I mean, at the app game time and also at the time game time, because they get a little bit cheaper the closer you get to game time. All you have to do to get a guarantee of a great ticket and no fees and all the things that Game Time provides is go to use the app, go to the Game Time app and use the code DLLS, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase.
Hey, the winds are blowing outside. The cold fronts are coming through. Tomorrow is supposed to be in the 40s, with a high only at 62. So
Wow.
this is it's gonna be our first fall day tomorrow, where it feels like fall, and you're gonna want one of those pumpkin spice lattes and all that. And it's a perfect precursor to what's going down Sunday at Globe Life Field. It's the annual Fall Festival. It's now an annual event because this is the second straight year they've had it.
Sure.
Fall theme activities, all kinds of stuff. It's only 2 days after Halloween, so there's going to be hourly costume parades. I think you might be able to win some prizes. You get to run the bases because it's on the field at Globe Life Field. It's not just on the concourse. You are on the field. So don't miss out on the fall event of the year at the home of the Texas Rangers. Tickets are on sale now at globelifefield.com/fall festival. That's
Yeah, that might be
globelifefield.com fall festival.
that might be the coolest pumpkin patch out there, right? On Globe Life
Yeah.
Field. Get on down there in a little pumpkin patch. And I saw at one of my favorite cookie shops the other day. They had a cookie. It was a pumpkin with white chocolate chips, and I would have bought that thing if I didn't hate the taste of pumpkin. I'll tell you that right now. It looked fine, but I can't say I really like pumpkin. So that's on me. I know, especially this time of year. You can't avoid it. So one of the guys we didn't mention that came out, I think it came out in the Jim Bowden list, Brandon Woodruff, who is, again, these poor Brewers. They had such a great year. And now it looks like Peralta, they're going to try to trade, and Woodruff, he's a free agent. They're going to lose, a bunch of really good to serviceable guys. Again, the Bowden thing, Jeff said that, and he's just speculating, right?
Right.
But he speculates with a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. But he thinks that Brandon Woodruff could be had in like a 2-year, $22 million deal. And if that was the case, I think I'd be all over that. Now, we learned last year, again, right at the end of the year, I think we thought that Nathan Eovaldi would be about a $20 million a year guy, and he ended up at 25. So these things can change late, but here it is. There's an option.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you saw what Jim Bowden said, and then Baseball Reference thinks that he's going to get 20 million a year. But
wow.
but the injuries are a real thing. He missed some. He's missed a lot of time, and his velocity was down when he came back from injury. But he still had a 32% strikeout rate, only 12 starts. He was on the IL at the end of the year, could not pitch in the playoffs because he had a lat injury. So, what are you going to get out of this guy? And how much do you want to spend? 20 seems like an awful lot,
Yes.
And but he was really good. I mean, there's no question that he was outstanding and has been a really good pitcher. He and Corbin Burns were part of a pretty good 1-2 punch there for a while, and with the Brewers, and so yeah, I mean, I would take a look too, but you're going to have to really go over those medicals and have a lot of confidence that he's going to get you 20 starts.
Yeah.
If you're going to be paying him 15 to 20, hopefully $1 million a start.
Yeah.
I just don't know, but he's definitely a guy who is a really good pitcher, and if he was healthy, he would be getting a big contract.
Sure, I can't. Was he off for 23 because of shoulder though, not Tommy John, or was it Tommy
I don't
John?
remember.
I think it might have been.
I really don't. I have lost track of the number of injuries that he's had, and which one caused what. I know that the current concern is his shoulder.
Yeah.
And so dang, I think teams feel better about elbows than shoulders, and but he's expected to be ready to go and totally healthy and all this stuff.
Yeah, he had a pretty good second half, if you will, in that. I mean, I don't think he came back till July, but the numbers were pretty good after that. But you're right. I mean, injuries are a real thing, and if they're, John Gray was a somewhat of a poster child for that. When he came here, everybody in Colorado said he's great when he's on the field, and he had been that way in Colorado, and he was that way here. I think he was on the injured list every year while he was here.
Every year, yeah, he didn't avoid it one time, and you do wonder about those guys, and he got 4 and 56, but that was before the last CBA. I mean, that was a lifetime ago. That was 5 years ago. How has inflation affected the cost of pitching? But the Rangers have done a really good job, and we've said it before, in identifying these middle tier guys. We can go back to I'll start with Mike Minor as one example. Kyle Gibson, whose first year wasn't very good, but his second year was excellent. So Lance Lynn probably mid tier at that point. So they've hit on guys. I mean, you could argue they hit on Malley, though Malley was hurt this year, and they knew he was hurt last year. And bringing back Martin Perez was a big hit for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of trust the Rangers pro scouts in this regard. But yeah, in regards to Woodruff, it's definitely the shoulder that's the worry, and I got to think it's a pretty big worry.
Well, and I think you're right when you think about it. the Rangers are really good at elbows, right? And they're not afraid to take a pitcher who's hurt. Tyler Mahle, right? Or any number of guys they've taken in the draft who they know they're not going to have for a year. But shoulders are a little more difficult to deal with than elbows are, especially as it pertains to Rangers pitchers coming back and the system, the method that they have established as far as getting guys back as healthy or healthier than they were prior to the surgery.
Yeah, they're really, they're very proud of their rehab program out in Arizona for the big injuries, and Keith Comstock, who a former major league pitcher who was undone by the yips, a mental injury, not really a physical injury, and how he goes out there and gets them. It's a grind. You're in Arizona, surprise Arizona. It's hot, and you got to do the same thing, and it's not a lot of work for a very long time. These guys have to do just really otherwise mundane things, and then they go back and, well, they got 20 hours to kill in a hotel room or an Airbnb. And so it's a tough grind, but you've seen the successes they've had with guys coming back from various injuries that require time out there. And then, they have the leading orthopedist, elbow specialist on retainer, and Keith Meister is their team physician. And so they obviously feel great about that and feel like they're in good hands there. And then, with Matt Lucero and the group of athletic trainers handling the day-to-day stuff, they seem to have a pretty good handle on things. But the Rangers do always seem to err on the side of caution when it comes to a player's timeline for a return, which is kind of why I balk a little bit at the Cody Bradford May return. Just because it always seems like it's a few more weeks or another month, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But they do tend to play it a little cautious, even in those initial starts back, they're a little cautious. And then this year with Jacob deGrom, they're very much cautious in, let's say, 25 of his 30 starts.
Yeah, I like what Kelly Mann said. I like getting Armstrong quickly first. I think, unfortunately, Kelly Mann, it's too late to get him quickly because they've had a month to get him quickly. And now, Jeff, it does seem like Sean Armstrong likely won't get done prior to the end of the World Series when the Rangers are allowed to sign their own free agents.
Yeah, and they can have that 5-day window after the World Series to I believe within those 5 days you have to make qualifying offers and all of that stuff, but you still have 5 days of exclusivity to re-sign your guys. And yeah, I mean, it seems kind of like a no-brainer here. Talking about a guy who has told them he wants to get it done.
Right.
He wanted to get it done this month. And I know the Rangers had other things to do, like hire a manager and get a coaching staff together, which you would think would happen any day now. So I don't know. Maybe it might be a situation where they've dropped the ball a little bit here. Now, who knows what happens in the next, let's say, 7 to 10 days. There's still time to get a deal done. But Sean Armstrong was so good this year that other teams are going to take note. They got Sean Armstrong because he wasn't very good the year before.
Right.
It's just going to be a different deal this year. There are going to be a lot of teams trying to get Sean Armstrong, and he is going to sign for a lot more than the $1 million or $2 million that they ended up paying him. So I think that they need to push the accelerator on this one. And if there's a chance to get it done before other teams start getting involved and prices start skyrocketing, Rangers really need to do it.
Yeah, I agree with that because, again, you'd like to set that market for him. I mean, if for nobody else, if he wants it done, you want it done, just kind of set the market for him, get that thing done. And they may. There's still, as you say, there is time in that 5-day window. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's talk more about what those other dates are as it pertains to the offseason and about some of the people who might be a part of those dates. That's all coming up next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And we really want you to do this favor for us. Join the Supporters Club. $5 and $15 levels are available right now. And in each of them, you get all those emojis on the screen, which we're trying to add more and more to those. And you can also get the videos that all of our crew is doing behind the scenes, showing what goes on here when, we're not on the air. And there's a lot of that. And there's a lot of fun stuff. There's a lot of strong opinions. I walk in here this morning, all anybody's talking about the Cowboy show was going on, but out in the office area, all anybody's talking about is that crazy baseball game last night. So this is a sports place, and that's essentially what we do when we're not on the air is talk sports. So you get access to all of those things that are fun and behind the scenes and sort of like pulling back the curtain if you join our supporters club. So please avail yourself to that and do that. Yeah. Leon puts in there DLLS LUDs. That's right. I mean, you need say no more than DLLS LUDs to see some of our crazy sicko behind the scenes stuff through the supporters club.
Yeah. And then we also want you to become a recipient of our newsletter. And you can find it, as I'm looking right now at it, at the very bottom of our homepage, alldls.com. You just go to the bottom and it'll say DLS newsletter. Get Dallas best sports content in your inbox. Then it says enter your email. And guess what you do? You enter your email. Then you push the subscribe button. That's it. That's all you have to do. No money, no driver's license, no credit card, nothing like that. It's no hidden fees like Game Time. All right. This is the DLS newsletter. Ali does it. He does a great job. It's thumbnails from what's happening in our area, in the world, and in our sports world, and it's just great. It helps keep me up to date on things, and will help keep you up to date on things too. So get our newsletter, please.
Yeah, and a tease here in the cleanup segment. We are going to play a little game with all of you that comes directly from Ali's newsletter today. So that's coming up in the cleanup segment. But first, let's get into some of the things that we know will begin to happen. The World Series could end as soon as Thursday, right? Or Wednesday. Yeah,
Wednesday.
Yeah,
what's today?
Yeah, today's Tuesday. That's right. So it could end tomorrow if the Dodgers win these next two games, and then that activates those 5-day windows, and it activates so many things. And one of the things the Rangers and all teams will have to do within 5 days, Jeff, is qualifying offers. This year, that qualifying offer is going to be just north of $22 million, 22.05, I think, is what the number is on the qualifying offer. And I don't know, do any Rangers get a qualifying offer?
No, I sure don't think so.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, like every once in a while, you see a team that makes a qualifying offer to a guy, and he accepts it. Nick Martinez comes to mind, and Nick Martinez made $21 million this year.
Yeah.
You really want to pay him $21 million?
Yeah.
So anyway, that usually goes to the guys who, are going to hit it big. Now, if the caveat is that once you've been made a qualifying offer, you can't be made one again. So it's a one-time thing in your career. So Pete Alonso, for instance, will hit free agency this year without having the qualifying offer thing attached. And when you sign a free agent who's been given a qualifying offer, you forfeit a draft pick. So that could make a few more teams, put a few more teams in his sweepstakes. So, but yeah, that has to be done. The 5th day after the World Series, and then the player has to decide maybe a week or 10 days later if they're going to be accepting it or not.
And so, was Alonso given a qualifying offer last year? No, he wouldn't have been, right?
I would assume he would have been. Yeah, it was his first time in free agency. Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the first thing. Then on the 21st of November, Jeff, is the non-tender deadline. So,
that's always a biggie. That's always a biggie.
You've got to decide if you're going to tender your own players a contract offer. And there are big decisions to be made there, because if you don't tender them a contract offer, Jeff, they immediately become free agents, right?
That's correct. And that's how the Rangers got their hands on both Hobie Milner and Jacob Webb last year. They were non-tendered, and so that's a big one. And you can see some trades that are made leading up to the deadline. I know the Rangers, my first year on the beat, got Ben Broussard to play first base in a trade with the Mariners right before the deadline. And then also you can sign players to smaller contracts than what they would get in arbitration. So that's another possibility. I think the Rangers did that last year with Dane Dunning, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, that's a big one. That is a big day.
All right, so let's go through some.
What day was that? What day was that?
The 21st of November.
Okay, we got to go back a couple days after this.
Yeah. Okay, we will. But let's go through some guys. What about Jonah Heim?
Trade or non-tender?
So you would non-tender him?
I would. If I can't find a trade for him, I would non-tender him.
Okay. And in that case, obviously, he is just free to go wherever he wants to go.
Correct.
Adolis Garcia.
Yeah, boy, that's a tough one. I think, like we said, breaking up is hard to do, but I think Adolis is should be non-tendered as well, because he's gonna get around 12 million, and I think the Rangers can do better than 12 million. Can find a better value than Adolis, and if they do tender him a contract, that doesn't mean that they still can't trade him later, because the Rangers last year tendered Nathaniel Lowe a contract before trading him.
Right. And that's what I was wondering. Do you tender these guys contracts and keep working on trading them? But I guess then the problem becomes, if you can't trade them, now you're stuck with them.
Yeah, right. And that's the risk you run. And do you really want to have those guys on your roster in 2026? And I think the answer is no.
Yep. Okay. Let's go back then a couple days. What did I miss?
Yeah. November 18th is the deadline to set the 40-man roster. And why does that matter? The Rule 5 draft.
Okay.
Is that's where the Rangers will stash prospects who they don't want to lose in the Rule 5 draft, which takes place during the winter meetings. So that's a big one for a lot of young guys.
Right.
For one, it's interesting. Some of the guys who haven't been selected in the past or haven't been protected. Justin Slayton with the Red Sox. The choice came down to Justin Slayton or Mark Church, and the Rangers went with Church, and Slayton was selected, as we know, by the Red Sox, and has been a nice player for him. A couple of the candidates who are going to be pretty interesting this year for the Rangers: Cameron Cawley, who had a pretty nice year at Frisco this year, former third rounder in 2021, fastest guy in the organization. He's now playing center field. He's a middle infielder. He's now playing center field as well. David Davalillo, I'd be shocked if he wasn't added to the 40-man roster. You can make an argument that he is their top pitching prospect. Doesn't have a ton of velocity, but he knows how to pitch. Leandro Lopez, who had a good year, but at Class A, do you want to protect him? And then Glider Figueroa, he's probably the Rangers' best power hitting prospect in the minor leagues, but strikes out a lot, doesn't hit for a ton of average. So those are probably some of the guys who might draw attention. But I think Cawley, Davalillo, and Leandro Lopez are arguably the three guys who they need to really seriously look at, because again, Rangers farm system's getting pretty thin,
Right.
and it's important that they protect the best guys that they have.
Yeah, and the best guys they have, especially at position players, are still a ways away, right? I mean, we talked about that with management during the end of the season, where their best minor league players are at A or double A at the highest, probably more like A or high A.
Well, and another, guys who are Rule 5 eligible, it's not just a one-time thing. It can be something that goes into another year. For instance, Cody Freeman was Rule 5 eligible last year. Well, if he hadn't been added to the 40-man, he would have been eligible this year. Abby Ortiz is a guy who I overlooked there in that list, who's Rule 5 eligible for the first time, and he hits a lot of home runs. He did really, really well at AAA. So I think that Abby has a shot also to be added, just because again there aren't a lot of first basemen out there.
Sure,
he does hit for power. He's not a great athlete, and then you kind of look at him. It's like, well, if the Rangers didn't protect Blaine Krim all those years, would they protect Abby Ortiz? So that's something else to kind of weigh.
Sure.
And but yeah, it's just every year it's just a kind of you can make a case for a lot. I think I made a case for like six guys a couple of years ago, and it didn't happen. But and you still have to keep your 40-man roster open if you're for the MLB club. You can't add too many guys.
Right.
So it is a big day that day on
the 18th. How much room will they have on the 40-man? I mean, I guess all their free agents are technically off the 40-man, right?
Correct.
So that creates
that's correct.
That gives them enough room to do, I mean, not anything they want, but that gives them latitude to work with on these guys.
It certainly does. And so, you can look at the guys who are at, okay, so Hobie Milner, okay, I believe, and then Sean Armstrong, who we talked about, Chris Martin, a retirement candidate, John Gray, a retirement candidate, Tyler Malley, a free agent. What is that? 5 just off the top of my head,
right there, yeah.
And then you're thinking potentially a few days later, Heim and Garcia getting non-tendered. Well, that's 2 more spots.
Yeah.
And then you do have to add guys who are on the 60-day back onto the 40. So that process has to take place. So Bradford has to be added back, and
Boers,
Evan Carter. So there multiple guys have to be added back on. So it's there's a definite juggling act you have to do, and and if you need to create a roster spot, like does a guy like Dustin Harris, who was a DFA'd at the trade deadline, does he get DFA'd again? And if he does, this time he can turn down outright assignment and he can become a free agent. Patrick Corbin's another guy who's going to be coming off. Danny Coulomb will be coming off. Merrill Kelly, and then Phil Mayton. So we're talking a lot of guys here who are coming off. But it is a juggling act, and those things there's deadline dates for those and all of that stuff. Donovan Solano, how could you forget Donovan Solano and Rowdy Tellez? Those guys are coming off, right?
Yeah.
Dylan Moore's coming off.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of guys who are coming off.
Yeah. So there'll be plenty of room. And
Billy McKinney, I forgot about that.
Who?
Billy McKinney.
Oh, yeah, that's
the Plato boy.
Yeah. Yeah. So they'll have a lot of room to work, and that's good because they have a lot of work to do. And that work certainly has begun. As we've mentioned, the pro scouting meetings were last week. We're expecting to hear how some of that went very soon as part of the process. And that was obviously identifying players they're interested in and that type of thing, but also coaches that they're interested in keeping and coaches that they're not interested in keeping. Anyway, we've got more of that to talk about over the course of the next few days. But coming up next, back to the cleanup segment, back to that World Series game that was so wonderful and crazy last night, and some other fun stuff too. It's all next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
Guys, go ahead and just to make sure that you don't miss any of the Rangers news that's going to be coming up, become a diehard. All right, you can scan the QR code. You can go to alldls.com, and after you sign up for the newsletter, then you can sign up to be a diehard for $79.99 a year. That's $6.50 a month. Everything that I write, as well as our Cowboys crew, our Stars crew, and our Mavs crew, you get access to it if it's behind the paywall. And there are other features that come along with this thing, like 20% off of our events, and the access to the Discord, and early access to our events, and a free T-shirt. I am wearing one of those today underneath my pullover. I always wear one, and if you want a free one, all you got to do is become a diehard.
Yeah, and you could get this T-shirt right here that's got the Dallas skyline. And I got to be honest with you, Jeff, as I was watching, this is no offense, but as I was watching the Cowboys game the other day and they came back from break and they showed the skyline of Denver, I said, what a crappy skyline, especially compared to that. Now, I know they have mountains, but we have a damn good skyline. We have a damn good skyline right there. So anyway, this one or many others, store.allcity network is the place to go. I wonder if the Denver shirt, if DNVR has one with their skyline, because you wouldn't be able to differentiate anything. And if they ever take Reunion Tower out of this, we're in trouble. But in any event, get you a shirt. That's the point. They're fantastic. They're attention getters. They're conversation starters. They're comfortable. And they're fantastic, and they're not that expensive. And if you're a diehard, you get 20% off. Store.allcitynetwork.com. So one thing we didn't mention, Jeff, Will Klein. You were mentioning guys that were DFA'd. This dude was traded and DFA'd twice in 2025. Started the year with the A's. I think he got traded for international money. Then he got DFA'd. Then he's at the Mariners. They DFA'd him. Somehow he ends up with the Dodgers, and he wasn't on the first round or the NLDS roster, maybe not even the NLCS roster. And he's been sitting at home for a month. He gets called, hey, join us in Toronto. We're going to need you. And then he did that. 4 innings, 72 pitches. Most he's ever thrown in a big league game is 36, twice as many. And I saw him interviewed afterwards, and they said, were you getting tired? He goes, oh, not at all. I was ready to go more. I was ready to keep putting up zeros. That was an unbelievable And by the way, Jeff, he shares his alma mater is the same as a very famous Dallas athlete.
Well, who's the Dallas athlete?
Tony Romo.
Oh, okay.
Eastern Illinois.
Illinois. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
so
that's interesting.
Yeah, there you go. Got to be
right, I like it.
Yeah. So that was fun. How about Brad Paisley? Dude sang the national anthem last night. He has sung the national anthem. There have only been 2 18-inning World Series games, 2018 and last night. Brad Paisley sang the national anthem at both.
Well, there you go.
He's going to start making a deal when he has to sing sing the national anthem. I ain't staying for the game. I'm not. I bring the wife and the kids, and we're there for an hour or for hours and hours and hours. So this is the thing I was telling you about before the show, and we hear the little. Somebody's commented on the little frog in your throat. You should have just used this today. It's a permission slip to miss work, and it was provided by the Los Angeles Dodgers very kindly to their fans. Please excuse Jeff from all responsibilities and work, school, whatever, on this day, because he had to stay up and watch Game 3, and now he's got to be a part of Game 4 starting tonight. Now, that said, I don't feel a bit bad for Dodgers fans because, like we said, the game ended at 11:50. That used to be every game for the Rangers just a few years ago, right? They all ended late. I feel bad for those people in Toronto. There were people still sitting in Skydome watching it on the big screen at dang near 3:30 in the morning, Jeff. 3 o'clock in the morning.
I wonder what time they stopped beer sales.
Well, and of course at Dodger Stadium they stopped in the 7th inning. I saw somebody tweet, "Man, I probably got overserved. I had a few too many beers, and all of a sudden now I'm morphing into a hangover." Like, I'm still at the game, so yeah, that was not good. And I wonder in Toronto, you're right. I don't know if they have the same deal. LA Times headline was pretty good today. Let's take a look at that as we see. Let Freeman
There
ring.
you go.
Pretty nice. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, not bad.
I like that. Good play on words by the LA Times. And yeah, it was just such an unbelievable game that it warrants a couple of different references and segments. But it was also, Jeff, yesterday, a sports equinox, which is one of those days. We don't have that? Okay, we didn't get it. No problem. One of those days where all four major sports play on the same day. And it's only happened, I think, like 32 times in history. It's the only time in 2025 that all four teams, all four sports are playing on the same day. And this is an interesting note about the sports equinox. And that is that the Commanders had their Monday Night Football game. They played their game. They flew home in the time it took for the baseball game to take place.
That's pretty good.
Can you imagine?
I like
So they were in Green Bay, I think. So anyway, that's
they're in
that.
Kansas City, right?
Or Kansas City. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but the one thing I'll say to you, the game we were going to play that we can't play, but because I sent it over to Kat too late. But Ali, in the newsletter today, has a fun little game about which of these guys from each sport would you take in a sports equinox. And so, like the one I was going to take I remember it had Jordan for basketball and Babe Ruth for baseball. No. It had Jordan and Shohei. And I was like, okay, well, you just gave me the two best players ever to play either one of those sports, right? So you could give me, Kenny Gant as a football player and, some spare hockey player. And I'd go, that's fine. I'll take my chances with those two guys. But anyway, it's a fun little exercise because it's all great big names, and you try to decide which team would be the best. So that's why another reason why you've got to get the newsletter. Okay.
Yeah, I would take row B was Jordan, Jerry Rice, and Shohei.
Yeah.
I definitely taken that one.
Yeah, me too. No doubt. So you've got more exodus from the Astros coaching staff, Jeff. Billy Murphy
I saw that.
is leaving, and he's leaving on his own, apparently, to go where? To the Pirates. How bad are things for the coaches in Houston right now? Good gosh. You're going to leave there to go to the Pirates. Now, again, as a pitching coach, you do get to go over there and, you get to coach up a pretty good guy, but I don't know for how long.
Yeah. That's kind of makes a little sense when you put it like that.
I guess it does, but makes you look like a pretty good coach, right? But
exactly.
But that said, I do wonder. I mean, I guess I get it. The Astros hold themselves to a pretty high standard, as they should, because they made the playoffs and won the division and all that so many years in a row. But seems like a lot of changes when you didn't change out the manager.
Right, and as you know, John, that's the way sometimes how things go. We're like, well, we'll keep you, but you got to change the hitting coach and the first base coach and the bullpen coach, or you're not bringing back the same staff. And
Right.
and you see it happen in every sport. Well, I don't know if it happens in hockey because I don't know anything about hockey, but you do see guys who aren't brought back, and coaches somehow keep their jobs, and it feels like that's the condition. We'll keep you, but X,
Yeah.
Y, and Z got to go.
Yep. Yep. I agree with that. Rarities was asking in the new expansion if there are new expansion teams, which is still years away according to the commissioner. And I just saw that he commented on this week when he was in Toronto. But he talked about the great Canadian baseball fans, and he talked about how much they love the country and all that stuff, and that the next time Major League Baseball expands, he thought, he said to them, and granted, he's playing to his audience, but that there would be another team in Canada. And, of course, then the immediate speculation was actually that it would be in Montreal. I haven't watched the Netflix documentary yet, but it's on my list. I think it's called Who Killed the Montreal Expos.
Rarities pointed that one out to me.
I do want to see that because I just can't imagine that baseball couldn't make it there. It's a city of plenty of means, and build a new. I know the stadium was terrible, but build a new one and get it done. And I don't know, but I'll have to look and see before I really comment on that. But I would love to see a team back in Montreal. I think it would also make sense, however, Jeff, to go out west to Vancouver.
Yeah, I think the Mariners might take exception to that.
They might,
though I don't know beyond the Blue Jays one visit a year how many baseball fans from British Columbia truck it down the highway to Seattle to watch a game. I bet they would be less opposed to that as Portland. I think they would be strongly opposed to Portland.
Agreed.
Which is a candidate and has done some renderings and all that stuff. I keep seeing Salt Lake City as a team out west. They're in the Mountain Time Zone. Maybe a halfway point between Seattle and Texas, for instance. Although that seems to be what Colorado's purpose is. And then out east, Montreal, Nashville seems to be the one though that would be a really strong contender if they're going to put one in the Eastern Time Zone. Sure seems like it would be Nashville.
Agreed, which is why it made me think maybe it wouldn't be Montreal this time. It would be someplace out west, because in the last 2 or 3 rounds of expansion, there's been an east and a west type candidate, between, Colorado and Arizona and Tampa and Miami. Yeah. So anyway, there you go. I don't know what they're going to do there. Steven Strasburg coming back to the game, going back to San Diego State, as the former Washington Nationals great has been hired as a special assistant, Jeff, by Kevin Vance, who's the new head coach at San Diego State.
That makes a lot of sense. Strasburg, he went to San Diego State as he wasn't in shape when he got there. He was kind of had some extra pounds, and he wasn't in very good shape.
Yep.
And then Tony Gwynn was the manager at the time, and they were in the Mountain West and played TCU. And so I remember seeing him. I missed the good Strasburg. I got the mediocre one. Anyway, he transformed himself in college, became the first overall pick, made a ton of money in the game. So he owes San Diego State quite a bit. So it makes a lot of sense for him to go back and help out.
Yeah, it does. And I'm sure, like you say, he made so much money. I'm not sure he even cares that they're going to pay him if they pay him. It might be one of those, I'll just help you out kind of things. But, and again, get back to San Diego. If you can get back to San Diego, you've got the wherewithal and a history there. San Diego's a pretty nice place to land. So anyway, another baseball game tonight. We'll hope it doesn't go 18 innings. Remember, if you're a Blue Jays fan, which Jeff and I are this series, if you're a Blue Jays fan, last time the Dodgers won an 18-inning Game 3 of a World Series, they lost the series to the Boston Red Sox. That was back in 2018. So I'm saying there's a chance. That's going to do it for us. We appreciate you hanging out with us as always, chatting us up, and we will see you again tomorrow with our special guest, Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins, tomorrow on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.